16.
All right, number
1
16.
1832.
Yep, it does.
Number 16.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. And if everybody's there, shout hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. So, I didn't hear from Marky Mark, but I'm assuming he'll get there shortly.
I'm trying to catch up on a new language, so I'm challenging myself. This is probably not the right time.
Okay.
Challenging oneself. So let me go ahead.
All right. We're going to speak English right now.
Very good. Very good.
Chapter 16. With those Hebrew in there every now and then. And it says, and Korah, son of Ishtar, son of Levi, took both Dathan and Abiram, sons of Elijah, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben. And they rose up before Moshe with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, called ones of the meeting, men of name. And they assembled against Moshe and against Aaron and said to them, enough of you, for all the congregation is set apart, all of them, and Yahuwah is in our midst. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahuwah? When Moshe heard, he fell on his face and spoke to Korah and his company, saying, tomorrow morning, Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is set apart, and bring him near to him. And let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this, take fire holders, Korah, and all your company, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahuwah chooses is the set apart one. Enough of you sons of Levi. And Moshe said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Levi, is it little to you that Yahuwah, or that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to him, to perform the service of the dwelling place of Yahuwah, and to stand before the congregation to serve them, and that he brought you near to himself, you and all your brothers, and the sons of Levi with you, yet you seek the priesthood as well. Therefore you and all your company are set against Yahuwah. And Aaron, what is he that you grumble against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab. But they said, we're not coming up. Is it little that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you would also seize total rule over us? Also, you have not brought us into the land of flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of the fields and vineyards. Would you bore out the eyes of these men? We're not coming up. And Moshe became very displeased and said to Yahuwah, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I done harm to any of them. Then Moshe said to Korah, tomorrow you and all your company shall be there before Yahuwah, you and they and Aaron, and take each one his fire holder, and you put an incense in it, and let each one bring his fire holder before Yahuwah, 270 fire holders, and you and Aaron, and each one with his fire holder. So each one took his fire holder and put fire in it and laid incense on it and stood in the door of the tent of meetings with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of meetings. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, separate yourself from the midst of this congregation. Let me consume them in a moment. But they fell on their faces and said, El, Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, are you wroth with the whole congregation? And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the congregation, saying, move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moshe rose up and went to Dathan. Abiram and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, please turn away from the tents of these wrong men. Do not touch whatever belongs to them, lest you be consumed in all their sins. Then they moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moshe said, by this you know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, that they are not from my own heart. If these die as all men do, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahweh has not sent me. But if Yahweh creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens up its mouth and swallows them up, and all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the grave, then you shall know that these men have scorned Yahweh. And it came to be when he ended speaking these words, that the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all the men of Korah with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into the grave, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Israel who were around about them fled at their cry, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up. Fire came down from Yahweh and consumed 250 men who were offering incense. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the fire holders out of the blaze, for they are set apart, and scatter the fire some distance away. And the fire holders of those men who sinned against their own lives, let them be made to be into beaten plates for the covering of the altar, because they brought them before Yahweh, therefore they are set apart. Let them become a sign to the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the bronze fire holders, which those who were burned up had brought, and they were beaten out as a covering on the altar. A remembrance to the children of Israel, that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aaron should come near to the offer incense before Yahweh, and not be like Korah and his company, as Yahweh had said to him through Moshe. But all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and against Aaron on the next day, saying, you have killed the people of Yahweh. And it came to be, when the congregation assembled against Moshe and against Aaron, that they turned toward the tent of meeting, and see the cloud covered it, and the esteem of Yahweh appeared. And Moshe and Aaron came before the tent of meetings. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, rise up from the midst of the congregation, and let me consume them in a moment. And they fell on their faces. So Moshe said to Aaron, take the fire holder and put fire in it from the altar, and lay incense on it, and go and hurry to the congregation and make atonement for them. For the wrath has gone out from Yahweh, the plague has begun. Aaron took it as
Somebody needs
Moshe
to
commanded
mute.
and ran into the midst of the assembly and saw that the plague had begun among the people. He laid on the incense and made atonement for the people and stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. And those who died in the plague was 14,700, besides those who died on account of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moshe at the door of the tent of meetings, for the plague had stopped. All right.
What's that noise?
I don't know, but I wish it would stop.
Mark, is that you?
No,
Okay, I'll just ask.
I don't hear anything.
Okay.
So you got earplugs in. What was you doing?
Uh-oh.
Nothing.
Uh-oh. He got that look on his face, don't he? I'm
Just laying on
coming.
the table.
Sound like somebody was stapling. Yeah, it got
I don't know.
very distracted.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I'm sitting still at a table.
All right.
I kind of got lost. I did too.
Okay.
When he said the plague had begun,
Mm-hmm.
I got lost in that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about what took place. What was taking place here?
He had punished, who is it, Cork, Dathan, and Abram, and all their families.
Why?
They were questioning the positions that he had given them, and they were wanting to take over from Moshe and for Aaron. That's what I got out of it.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. We also see where they were coming after him. What was the issue that they had with Moshe?
That they thought Moshe was trying to take over, and they felt like they hadn't gotten there to the land of milk and honey, and that he was, I guess, ruling over them. Is how they felt.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, back in the day, we used to have a saying that if you ever want to see a good fight, go to church.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we see going on here. Some of the people who are in the congregation, they're saying, "Hey, we just as holy as you are, Moshe, and so therefore you're taking too much thunder. You get to walk around and get to do this, and we think that we're just as good as you are." And they brought a split among the people, and so because of that, they were dealt with. And what happened to them?
He opened up the ground, and they got swallowed up alive, buried alive, in essence.
And who else got buried alive with them?
That's why
their children.
The wives, and their children.
Everybody in the household.
Everybody in the household. Who else?
All of their followers.
How many of them were?
750.
Was it 750?
I think. I'm not.
It was 250 men.
250. That's what I was about to say. I've been reading it wrong the whole time.
No.
Yeah.
I had 50 right.
Yeah, you had the 50 right. Yeah. And it was at least 200.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, they all perished also. And what did YAH say to do to make a sign for the children of Israel to remember not to do this again?
To take those fire holders and make a covering for the tent of meetings.
Yeah. They make a covering for the
altar
for the tent of meetings.
Okay.
Or for the for the
Yeah, I see it, beaten plates as a covering for the altar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
And so when that happened, and after all this, I mean, imagine you being in this place, you see some folks rise up, talking about we just as holy as you are, and you see the earth open up and swallow them up, swallow the wives and the children up and everything that they own up, close up over them, and then all of a sudden fire shoots down from the heavens and strikes down all the other clowns that were standing with them. What would you do? Would you say something against Moses?
No.
No.
But what happened to the people?
Oh, now I'm getting it. So the next day they started grumbling again.
Yeah. Start grumbling again.
Came after Moshe and Aaron again.
And YAH didn't even waste no time this time.
No.
He said, hey, get out the way. Now,
Yeah, step away from him.
yeah. The thing that
Moshe was telling Aaron to run.
yeah. The interesting thing about this, you know, which is part of it, of what this teaching is about, and what YAH is trying to say as a leader, as one who's following YAH, what do you think he's trying to get us to understand?
When he gives direction, we need to follow it.
Okay. But as the leader, as the leader, what do you think that he's trying to get? What message do you think he's trying to get to us?
He's given you a person because you're not going to see him, but he's given you a body that you can physically see and hear, and with the instruction, and he's bringing it directly from him.
Okay, well, that's true. But in this text right here, what can you glean from? Go ahead.
Moses said that I've not taken anything from them. I've not taken not one thing from them. But they're having a problem with who YAH has put in place.
Okay.
And Moshe keeps laying down, intervening for him.
That's
what
right.
gets me. He keeps asking, trying to work it so YAH doesn't reap his wrath on them. And evidently, Aaron wasn't quick enough to get in that temple because evidently some of them got
more than some of them.
Well, it was 14,700 died before Aaron could return to tell Moshe that atonement was done, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like when your mom and them comes home and everybody's in there clowning, and they don't say nothing. They go get that switch or that belt.
Yeah.
You start hearing that.
Start whooping everybody.
You know, if you were standing in the way, you was got.
Yep.
One of them times you were supposed to be in the bed.
Yeah.
And they're watching cartoons.
Yeah, you don't want to be up there with your behind sticking up in the air watching cartoons.
Yeah. Just off in La La Land.
Yeah, you want to be one of those who's at least in the bed acting like
Pretend.
With some cover.
Yeah.
With some cover on you.
Yeah, hoping none of those lashes reach out and get you.
I told you.
And that's basically what's going on. And that's the thing of this is one is that you as a leader, you're gonna have those who's gonna challenge your position. And Moshe, he didn't go up there like you said, Sandra K. He intervened for him.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they were doing the argument, he said, "Hey, you go get your stuff, and we'll let YAH make the choice." He didn't go up there and beat his chest and and everything, and go and tell everybody I'm the man, I'm the this, and I'm the that. I'm the first, and I'm the Alpha and the Omega, and I'm the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Tav. Everything's my way. He went up there and said, we'll let YAH decide who does it. And so, and that's what took place. But then YAH is also letting you know that even though YAH might deal with those who come after you, that sometimes when you allow people who have the ability to stir up some stuff among the people you're dealing with, that sometimes that spirit is still among them, even though you got rid of the source. That
Yeah.
spirit is still among them, and so you're gonna have to deal with some aftermath, some residual effects of what took place. And so that's why a lot of times you see people who are careful about who they put in front of their people when you're leading. And that's because, you can go up there and say, oh, well, they were wrong. But once they hear some stuff, then, some people are going to, pick up on it and continue to, run with it a little bit. So then that causes extra work for you to go up there, especially if you know some stuff that what somebody's saying is untrue. And I've dealt with all of them. I remember one of my next door neighbors at one point in time, I had put something on there about the cross and about the Shabbat. And she went up there and wanted to challenge me about it. And she had gone to the seminary school, same thing. She wanted to challenge me on, he died on the cross and that it was Sunday and it was always Sunday and this, that, and the other. And I told her, go ask your pastor. I know who your pastor is, Theron Williams. And I said, he knows. I said, ask him what is the true name? What name did his mama give him? Ask him, do you have the Vine's Bible dictionary? Tell him, go to this page, look under the Sabbath and see what it says there. Go to the cross on this page. Tell him to open it up and read it and go to this paragraph and see what it says there. And then you come back and talk to me. And so she went up there and he said, well, everything you said, he said, yes, that's true.
He did.
But
yeah.
But I'm gonna stay stuck and stupid.
Yeah. And she was trying to question me on whether or not we were the true children of Israel and everything. And so I took it to certain passages and everything. And the thing was that after all this was done, now he's running around doing book tours. Talking about, he done wrote a book that the Bible is Black history,
Oh my goodness.
And I think her thing started out, now that I think about it, that they were asking questions as to why the people were leaving the church. And I told her, I said, because y'all ain't speaking the truth. And I began to share with her those things. And so, understanding who you are is only part of the battle. The other part is accepting the fact that you need to follow the teachings and instructions. You know who you are and still decide to do wrong, just as we just witnessed in this chapter here. These people were already saved. They had already gone under the blood of the Lamb. They were saved from death in Egypt. They left there and went through the baptism of the Red Sea. They had even gone to the point that they had even received and entered into the covenant with YAH, where YAH said that if you will keep my words and everything else, that you will be a treasured possession to me, and that you will be a set apart nation and a kingdom of priests. Mark, you typing on something?
Yes, I was.
Okay, I'm
Sorry.
hearing all that.
Quiet your keyboard.
I'm sorry. That's part of my coping mechanism where
Okay. Oh yeah,
I
that's
tap.
part of mine too.
I
That's
start
part of
thinking
mine
and I
too.
tap.
I was trying to figure out what the coping is. But that's part of what that is. Hold on just a second. It seems like somebody's up here at my door. Hold on.
I want to say, welcome my niece, Shabbat Shalom, Julian.
Shabbat shalom, Jillian. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here with you guys.
Glad you're here.
Hi, Julian. How are you?
Hi, I'm all right.
Good.
How you
Good to hear
been?
you. I've been all right.
That's good. I know you miss singing.
Yeah, it's been kind of a challenge. Supposed to get back at it at some point.
Well,
But
you
like I
can
said,
sing.
I was hurt for a while.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
You can sing at home. Make your own CD.
Yeah.
Mm,
Shabbat Shalom, SNL.
Hey,
Yeah. Glad to see you on there. I would tell little Miss Muffet that's what she stopped at the door, but she walked in and jumped straight on the potty
Uh-huh.
for a moment. So I'll bring it through. So anyhow, anybody else got anything that they want to that stood out to them in this chapter?
well, the constant intervention that Moses was willing to do.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that is challenging the leadership. I think, you made me mad, so now you're gonna get what you get. Well, no,
Yeah, we can't.
that's not your job.
Yeah, can't act out of wrath.
That's not your job.
So
Okay.
go ahead.
Now,
That's-
did I hear in there that there was a plague?
There was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me give like a comparison if I could think of, because you were saying something where the people were complaining against Moses the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's give sort of like a comparison of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So now we have a plague, right? And
Right.
it's going around the world. What are
Right.
the people complaining about? The black people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like comparing it to that, because they complained about Moses and the Lord still didn't, so he still attacked them. So until these people realize who we really are, the Lord will send plagues and all the rest of the stuff, because they need to honor who we are.
Well,
Let me do this. Let me say this, John.
go
Let
ahead.
me say this.
Go ahead.
Don't miss the part that Moses knew who he was.
Yes.
Don't miss the part that we don't yet know who we are. Millions of us are still fighting against the identity of who we are. And it's going to be a personal thing. People have to recognize it for themselves.
Right.
Atonement is a personal thing. Accountability is a personal thing. You have to account for yourself.
Right.
So
no,
until
but
as
not everybody is included.
This is going to sound, I don't know, maybe counterproductive, but until we recognize who we are, they will continue. It will continue. Yes, they know who we are, and they still grumble against us. But until we show who we are.
And also take this into consideration that these weren't foreign people. These were the children of Israel.
Right. Right.
So I think that there could be a parallel in the judgments that when it comes to who YAH has called and those who rebel against it, that there's going to be issues. But see, he's showing that issue is among the children of Israel in this one. Those who rebel against who YAH has chosen, even if it's the children of Israel, who he has chosen. If we hear it and we rebel against that, I can see you saying that, in parallel to this, that's going to happen also. And I think you might be able to take it to others that are out there. I would just digress a little bit about them honoring us, because it's not about them honoring us. It's about them honoring YAH. And that is the main point that I would make out of that. It doesn't matter whether or not they honor us or recognize us. We're here to do a certain job regardless to their recognition. Now, the thing is that we will be it'll be seen by them so that they'll understand, know who we are and who YAH is. But it's always for the benefit of YAH.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
In what you just said, it's not about them honoring us, and I totally agree with that. But in that same example, isn't us honoring him the same issue? And by honoring him, doesn't that mean to come back to covenant living, where he tells us, to honor him and like it, to love each other as you love yourself. So in honoring ourselves, we get back to honoring him, which puts us back in covenant, is my question, or is what I'm getting from it.
Okay. Let us turn to Jeremiah chapter 16. And let's read verses 9 through 13. You want to read that for us, Marky Mark?
Just a second.
Jeremiah what?
16. Verses 9 through 13.
Okay. He said, "For this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says. Before your eyes and in your days, I will bring an end to the sounds of joy and gladness, to the voices of the bride and the bridegroom in this place. Then you will tell these people all this, and they ask you, why has the Lord decreed such a great disaster upon us? What wrong have we done? What sin have we committed against the Lord our God? Then say to them, it is because your ancestors forsook me, declares the Lord, and followed other gods, and served and worshipped them. They forsook me and did not keep my law. But you have behaved more wickedly than your ancestors. See how all of you are following following the stubbornness of your evil hearts instead of obeying me. So I will throw you out of this land into a land neither you nor your ancestors have known. And there you will serve other gods day and night, for I will show you no favor. However, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when it will no longer be said, as surely as the Lord lives, who brought the Israelites up out of Egypt, but it will be said, as surely as the Lord who lives brought the Israelites up out of the land of the north and out of all the countries where he had banished them, where I will restore them to the land I gave their ancestors. But now I will send for many fishermen, declares the Lord, and they will catch them. And after that, I will send for many hunters, and they will hunt them down on every mountain and every hill, and from the crevices of the rocks. My eyes are on all their ways. They're not hidden from me, nor is their sin concealed from my eyes. I will repay them double for their wickedness and their sin, because they have defiled my land with the lifeless forms of their vile images and have filled my inheritance with their detestable idols. My Lord, my strength and my fortress, my refuge in time of distress, to you the nations will come from the ends of the earth and say, O ancestors possessed nothing but false gods, worthless idols that did them no good. Do people make their own gods? Yes, but they are not gods. Therefore I will teach them. This time I will teach them my power and might. Then they will know that my name is the Lord, Yahuwah.
Okay. So when we read this one, it lets us know that it is because of our disobedience and everything is why we got put out of the land. Now, if we would turn to, let me think, Ezekiel 36. And we start at verse 20. Well, we might jump back to verse 16 so we can get the full gist of it. But in Ezekiel 36, starting at verse 16, and
Let me keep going.
And we and we read through 23.
Okay. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, son of man, when the people of Israel were living on their own land, they defiled it by their conduct and their actions. Their conduct was like a woman's monthly uncleanness in my sight. So I poured out my wrath on them because they had shed blood in the land, because they had defiled it with their idols. I dispersed them among the nations, and they were scattered through the countries. I judged them according to their conduct and their actions. And wherever they went among the nations, they profaned my holy name, for it was said of them, these are the Lord's people, and yet they had to leave his land. I had concern for my holy name, which the people of Israel profaned among the nations, where they had gone. Therefore say to the Israelites, this is what the sovereign Lord says. This is not for your sake, people of Israel, that I'm going to do these things, but for the sake of my holy name, which you have profaned among the nations where you have gone. I will show the holiness of my great name, which has been profaned among the nations, the name you have profaned among them. Then the nations will know that I am the Lord, declares the sovereign Lord, when I am proved holy through you before their eyes. Wow.
All right. So what did he say? He said, it ain't about you. I ain't doing this for your sake, but for my set apart name's sake is why I do this. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that the only way that the people are going to know is when he is set apart in us before their eyes. So we are used as a tool to draw the rest of the world to YAH. He's not doing it so that the rest of the world can come up here and say, oh, all praise to those who claim to be Hebrew Israelites or anything else.
Right.
He's saying by you being set apart before their eyes to me,
Right.
that is what your purpose is. And so it is through all the torment, the hell, the punishments, the brutalities, and everything else that we've been going through, that when we come out and we still glorify Yah, we still give him the praise, and we go from being these heathens that just kill each other in the middle of the street, got our women out there doing the hoochie dances and having babies all over the place and doing all this foul and crazy stuff that the world has enabled us to continue to do. He says it is when we began to do his word and his will in front of the people or the whole world, as some books call them the nations, other books call them the Gentiles. But that it's talking about those who are not Israel, that they will be able to see that. And then after that, it begins to talk about, once again, what it was spoken in Jeremiah in 24. It says, then I'll take you from among the Gentiles, and I will gather you out of all the lands, and I'll bring you into your own land. And so this is what is spoken of through all the prophets. All the prophets are saying the same exact thing. I can go to just about any of these chapters in any book of the prophets, and they all ring this same tune, that there's going to be a time when all the children of Israel are going to be called back. They're going to atone back. We will be cleansed again, which means that we will stop doing the wrong things that we've been doing and begin to do the things that he has called us to do. And when we do that, after, especially in front of all these people who have done everything to make us worship other deities, make us just be so defiled and worthless. What did he say? All of our stuff was like, our ways was like what?
Menses.
Huh?
Menses. Woman's uncleanness during her time of the month.
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah. And so, and that's what he said. He said that's what our ways are like to him. Something that is very unclean. And so
Expelled. Yeah.
And that's what he's saying. So, that's how our ways are. He says, but when we begin to follow his word again and clean ourselves up, that's when the world is going to know who he is through our actions. And so, once again, this is what this is all about. It's not about so much about them lifting us up. It's important for us to know who we are, because then we understand what we need to do. I remember in church all the time when somebody would come up here and say, oh, you need to follow the commandments. And they will always say, oh, well, those are for the Jews. Those are for the children of Israel. And they were right. The thing is, we just didn't recognize that
That's who we were.
Who,
me?
we know,
you talking to me?
Yeah. Now that we know, we recognize what we need to do. There's a reason. Y'all has his reason for doing what he did, so that the whole world will see that no matter what you guys did to him, I always kept a remnant, and everything I said about these people will fall true. When the 400 years came, there were so many that was like, oh, we still here. And he didn't say immediately. He just said after the 400 years that there will be judgment. Now you look at stuff and people can't really go out there and say, well, there's no judgment. Because it looks like there's judgment all over the world right now.
You can I share something with you that I noticed?
Go ahead.
During that 400 years, it would not have been fair to judge the earth if we were under curse. So now that the curse has ended, now it's all fair playing ground. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's y'all wanted equality, okay?
Right.
Here's your opportunity. So now, like John said, now there's judgment all over the world. It's all equal ground now. Now, when you recognize who you are, that's when it begins to make a difference. What you do in it.
That's right.
Knowing what you know.
So, all right. So hopefully that answers all those questions. Sister Lynn, how you doing over there?
Julien.
You gotta unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
We
Tap, tap.
can see the wheels running up there, so we know it's working.
Doing it.
I'm all right. How you been?
All right. You got any questions?
I got a question on what does I forgot what it's called. It's it was an abbreviation for Elohim that Mom had sent a text message, and I wanted to know what it meant. I think it's YHBY or something. I might have it wrong.
No, you got it right. It is an abbreviation. It's an abbreviation of Yahuwah, or a phonetic spelling.
Yeah.
Of
And
Yahuwah.
His true name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you spell it.
Now
Well,
that's an abbreviation.
Yeah, that's the there's a big history in the name, why it's not used. If we look at the scriptures, everything it says tells us to use his name.
Right.
The interpretations has always come. Because it says, "Do not make my name vain," or to use my name in vain. A lot of people have determined that so that I don't say his name in the wrong way, it's best that I don't use it at all. But when you look up the meaning of word vain, means to make to nothing, to make useless, to make worthless. And so the question is, if you don't use his name becomes what?
Worthless.
And if his name becomes useless, then eventually it becomes destroyed, because after generations nobody will remember it. Nobody remembers it or knows the name, then the name becomes also worthless. And so it's by using the name that you give praise and honor to it, just like hallelujah. It is considered the highest praise. And if you understood Hebrew, hallelujah means to praise or praise to, and Yah is his name. So it's praise to Yah or to praise Yah. That's part of that. And so the Greeks took it, and they did their twist on it. So instead of them using the whole word, or well, let me digress a little bit. Some of the children of Israel, to keep from saying his name, they would just call it the name, which is the word that some of them use, Hashem, the name, because they didn't want to say his name improperly or anything like that. When they wrote it down, instead of putting the vowels and stuff in it, they just put the Yud Hey Vah Hey in it. They just put the 4 letters in it, so that anything that they wrote, if it was written and it had his name in it, if it was considered to be an abomination or whatever it was that they wrote, they didn't want that to come back and be an attack on them because they had incorrectly used his name. And so they would use those abbreviations. Then progressing on to the Greeks and stuff, that's where they come up with the word Lord and all those other things. Their 4 letters that equaled the 4 letters that was the abbreviation of his name. So, and the thing is with the abbreviations, the vowels and stuff in Hebrew weren't actual letters all the time, but it was always some little apostrophe or something like that that they would put next to the name to let you know how it was supposed to be properly pronounced. And so without those, you can't tell how it was supposed to be properly pronounced.
Okay.
So hopefully that answer your question, and if not,
Ask another one.
yeah, it might cause you to ask another one. Anything else?
No, not yet.
All right.
Cool.
Could we get somebody to read chapter 17 in the book of Numbers?
Yes. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and take from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each one's name on his rod, and write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi. For there is one rod for the head of each father's house. You shall then place them in the tent of meeting before the witness, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I chose buds, and I shall rid myself of the grumblings of the children of Israel, which they grumble against you. And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and all their leaders gave him a rod each, for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. So Moshe placed the rods before Yahweh in the tent of witness. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe went into the tent of the witness and saw that the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had budded and brought forth buds and blossomed and bore ripe almonds. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahweh to all the children of Israel. And they looked, and each man took his rod. And Moshe said, and Yahweh said to Moshe, bring Aaron's rod back before the witness to be kept as a sign against the rebels, so that you put an end to their grumblings against me, lest they die. And Moshe did as Yahweh had commanded him, so he did. And the children of Israel spoke to Moshe, saying, see, we shall die, we shall perish, we shall all perish. Anyone who comes near the tabernacle of Yahweh dies. Shall we be consumed to die?
So, as we saw in chapter 17, at the end, there was a plague. Why did they have the plague?
Because they were still grumbling.
Because folks was grumbling. So Yah said, all right, let me put an end to all this stuff. Each one of you respect your fathers of each tribe. So we're going to put it out here. Everybody brings their rod. And you'll all know whose rod is whose. Bring that in here to me, and I will let you know which one I approve. Whose rod I approve will be the one. And so, how did they find out whose rod that they approved? What happened?
Well, he told him to bring a rod from and write Aaron's name on from the Levi's, tribe of Levi. And when they went back the next morning, it had blossomed and had an almond hanging off of it.
Or fruit.
Yeah. So it was Aaron that Yah chose, and he put it back out there, and he said, that, and he told Moshe, I want you to keep this. And why did he want him to keep it?
So that
Be a
they can
sign.
see. And be
Yeah,
a sign against the rebels.
Yeah, so it'd
Or
be a
them to
sign
stop
against the
grumbling.
rebels, so that they'll stop the grumbling.
Mm-hmm.
And Moshe did what Yah commanded him. And what happened with the children of Israel?
They still grumbling.
Still grumbling. Still can't see what time it is. They
Mm.
still argue.
Can't see the
Yeah,
forest for the trees.
if we come near this thing, we're going to perish. If we go over there, we're going to perish. If we have our own little incense, we're going to perish. Yeah, everything happening, and we're going to perish anytime we come up against Yah and
Moshe.
Moshe.
Well, stop doing it, dummy.
Yeah, well,
And well, who that pointed you?
yeah. They don't want to win
Yeah.
the trophy. They just want to get their trophy for participation. I showed up. I should get a trophy just like the champion.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't want to be the man that Moshe is, that listens to Yah, who intervenes for the people. They want to intervene for themselves on their own behalf, and they want Yah to just follow everything that they say.
Mm-hmm. And then they want to do it their way.
Yeah. You'll find that with a lot of people in their worship with Yah today. As long as I think that all my sins have been forgiven me and I don't have to worry about sinning no more, because I'm because of grace, I'm good. But the moment that somebody comes and tells me I got to change my ways, I got to straighten up and start doing what is right, even though I don't want to do what's right. Somebody stepped on my toe, and I want to go up there and tell them what I think about them, their mama, and their dog. But Yah says, no, be merciful, and things of that nature. I want to do good. I want to everybody to prosper, but I want me to prosper first. And then after I prosper, then I'll be generous and help everybody else out. That's not what Yah says. And so because they don't want to follow what Yah says, they want to grumble because everything they're doing is leading to death. And so, Yah is just making it clear to me, this is who I'm choosing, so that there's no doubt in anybody's mind. So I don't have to go up there and put a plague and wipe out some more of y'all. This is who it is. I'm even going to tell him to leave this rod here as a witness, so that whenever you guys question again, who did Yah put up here, understand that if he's not the person that Yah put up there, he ain't gonna last. Because Yah will take him out. So, anybody got any questions or comments on that chapter?
America needs to read it.
What's that?
I said America needs to read it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes with kind of what Ronette was saying. And like I said, I understand what she was saying. I just wanted her to understand that it's not about us being lifted up, but it's also the fact that when they refuse to want to recognize who Yah has called as his people, you're still gonna have some issues that you're gonna have to deal with. So, like I said, I agree with what she was saying. I just don't. I don't think
he says that too.
It's due to for them to lift us up.
He says that too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just for you who knew who my people were and
Right.
still abuse them,
yeah,
I will judge you. I will judge you harshly.
Right.
Because you still knew.
That's right.
Yeah. Gonna be some troubled times are coming.
Troubled times are coming. All right, we got chapter 18 all the way through, what is it, 30 something?
32 to the end.
To the end. Can I get a volunteer?
Okay. It's from the beginning.
Yep, from the beginning.
18 and all right. And Yahweh said to Aaron, you and your sons
Oh boy.
and your father's house with you shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. And you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. And also your brothers, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, you shall bring here with you, that they may be joined to you and may minister to you. You and your son in your being before the tent of the testimony, and they shall keep your charge and the charge of all the tabernacle. Only that they shall not go near to the vessels of the sanctuary and to the altar. They shall not either they or you. And they shall be joined to you, and shall keep the charge of the tent of meeting and all the service of the tabernacle, and a foreigner shall not go near to you. And you shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, and there shall be no more wrath against the sons of Israel. And I, behold, I have taken your brothers, the Levites, from the midst of the sons of Israel. As a gift, they are given to you by Yahweh to do the service of the tent of meeting. And you and your sons with you shall keep your priesthood in everything and pertain to the altar and to that inside the veil. And you shall serve. I have given you the priesthood as a service of gift. And the stranger who comes near shall be caused to die. And Yahweh spoke to Aaron, saying, and I, behold, I have given to you the charge of my heave offerings, of all the devoted things of the sons of Israel. I have given them to you for the anointing, and to your sons by a perpetual statute. This shall be yours of the most holy things from the fire. Every offering of theirs, even every food offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every guilt offering of theirs, which they may render to me, it shall be most holy to you and to your sons. You shall eat it in the holy of holies. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy to you. And this is yours, the heave offering of their gifts, with all the wave offerings of the sons of Israel. I have given them to you and to your sons and to your daughters with you by a never-ending statute. Every clean one in your house shall eat it, and the best of the oil, and all the best of the new wine and wheat, the first fruits of them which they give to Yahweh, I have given to you. The first fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring in to Yahweh, shall be yours. Every clean one in your house shall eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Everyone opening a womb of all flesh, which they offer to Yahweh among man and among animals, shall be yours. Only you shall certainly redeem the firstborn of man, and you shall redeem the firstling of the unclean beast, and their redeemed ones from a month old, you shall redeem with your valuation of silver, 5 shekels by the shekel of the sanctuary. It is 20 gerah. But the firstling of an ox, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, you shall not redeem. They are holy. You shall sprinkle their blood on the altar, and you shall burn their fat as incense, a fire offering of soothing fragrance to Yahweh. And their flesh shall be yours, as the beast of the wave offering, and as the right leg, it shall be yours. All the heave offerings of the holy things, which the sons of Israel shall lift up to Yahweh, I have given to you, and to your sons, and to your daughters with you, by a never-ending statute, a covenant of salt. It shall be forever before Yahweh, to you and to your seed with you. And Yahweh said to Aaron, you shall have no inheritance in their land, nor shall you have any portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the sons of. And behold, I have given all the tithe in Israel to the sons of Levi for an inheritance, in return for their service, which they are serving, the service of the tent of meeting. And the sons of Israel shall not come near to the tent of meeting anymore, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tent of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a never-ending statute throughout your generations, that in the midst of the sons of Israel they shall have no inheritance, but the tithes of the sons of Israel, which they shall lift up to Yahweh, a heave offering I have given to the Levites for inheritance. Therefore I have said to them, I shall have no inheritance among the sons of Israel. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, and you shall say to the Levites, you shall speak to them when you take the hot from the sons of Israel, which I have given to you from them for your inheritance. Then you shall lift from it a heave offering of Yahweh, a tithe of the tithe. And your heave offering shall be counted to you as grain from the threshing floor, as fullness from the winepress. So you also shall lift up the heave offering, Yahweh, from all your tithes which you receive from the sons of Israel, and you shall give from it the heave offering of Yahweh to Aaron the priest. You shall lift up the whole heave offering of Yahweh out of all your gifts, out of all its fat, its holy part, out of it. And you shall say to them, when you lift up its fat out of it, then it shall be counted to the Levites as increase of a threshing floor, and as increase of a winepress, and you shall eat it in every place, you and your household, for it is your reward in return for your service in the tabernacle of the congregation. And you shall bear no sin because of it, since you have lifted up from it the best of it. And you shall not profane the holy things of the sons of Israel, so that you may not die.
All right. So, at the end of 17, we saw the people grumbling again, saying, if we come near the dwelling place, we're going to die. We shall be consumed to die. So now we see Yah is beginning to separate Aaron, his sons, and the house of Levi. So I've been asked this question a few times, and so I want to point this out because this is where I get my answers from. Was Aaron, was he from the tribe of Levi?
No, he was
Put
Moshe's
over.
brother.
Huh?
No,
Are you sure?
no.
Okay. Look in verse 3.
And they shall keep your charge with the charge of all the tabernacle. Only they shall not go near to the
My
vessels.
fault.
Unless they die,
Verse 2. I
Moshe.
don't have my glasses on. That's verse 2.
Oh, and also your brother, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father. Oh, okay. So he was a Levite. Well, then if he was a Levite, so was Moshe. Right?
Right. So how is it that Aaron and his sons were priests, but as it's pointing out here, the tribe of Levi, they weren't considered priests?
They were Levi's sons.
Because the tribe of Levi, they're not the priests. Their charge was to do what?
Take care of the tent of meeting.
To take care of the tent of meetings. So what I'm pointing out is that there was a certain family out of that tribe that was considered the lineage of the priesthood, not the whole tribe of Levi. The tribe of Levi was to take care of the tent and the things that were in it, and they weren't given an inheritance, but they were given the choice meats. They were given the first animal that was born from any cow, goat, or sheep. What about the firstborn of man?
Yeah, they got that too.
That belongs to them
redeemed.
too. But man can ransom his son or daughter.
Right. He could redeem it,
Right.
but they couldn't redeem
The animal.
goat, the sheep. Yeah.
How much was the when did the ransom start? I should say.
After a month.
Why is it that it's after a month?
Has to be weaned, or at least from the clean part.
You're very close to it. MD, Santa K, Ronette, my 8 pupils. Why is it a month?
Well, isn't that what he said? If it was a male,
There you go.
it took
Yeah.
33 days plus 7.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it had to be a month old before the mother was clean.
What's up, Dave?
Go to the priest, pay her her ransom for the firstborn, and be able to keep it. That's why when we read about in the book of Samuel, how he was given to the priest. And so sometimes they didn't ransom them back. Sometimes they gave them over to the priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original thing that YAH had put. So if they wanted to keep them, so be it. Anything else out of this chapter that anybody want to have any questions about or that stood out to them? Comments that they want to say? Well, let me ask this question, just for clarity for some that are here. When they sacrifice these cows or sheep or goat, and they went up there and burned them on fire, what happened to the meat?
Aaron,
Wasn't that for his family?
yeah,
Yeah.
they got
they got
to
to
eat
eat
it. Holy of holies.
Yeah, so that was their barbecue.
Yeah.
They got to sit back and relax. So that's why we like barbecue so much, I think. Is because it reminds us of our tie to the priesthood with YAH.
Mm-hmm. But they wasn't barbecuing oink oink.
No, well, we got a little twisted.
Yeah.
A little twisted. But that's where a lot of that stuff.
Bamboozled, run them up, led astray.
That's right. So, no one else has anything to say about that, then we will turn to, let me see if I can find 1 Samuel.
1 Samuel.
Chapter 11, starting at verse 14.
Starting at verse 14.
Yes. Verse 14 through 12:32 or 22.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and read that.
Okay.
I'll read it all because it ain't that big. And it says in 1 Samuel chapter 12 or chapter 11 verses 14. It says, and Samuel said to the people, "Come, let us go to Gilgal and renew the reign there." And all the people went to Gilgal, and they set up Shaul reign before Yahuwah. And in Gilgal, there they made slaughterings of peace offerings before Yahuwah. And Shaul rejoiced, and all the men of Israel very greatly. And so, Shemuel said to all Israel, "Look, I have listened to your voice and all that you said to me, and have set a sovereign over you. And now, look, the sovereign is walking before you, and I am old and gray, and look, my sons are with you, and I have walked before you from my youth to this day. Look, here I am, witness against me before Yahuwah and before his anointed, whose ox have I taken, and whose donkey have I taken, and whom have I oppressed, whom have I abused, and from whose hand have I received any bribe with which to blind my eyes? Then I'll restore it to you." And they said, "You have not oppressed us or abused us, nor have you taken any bribe from anyone's hand." So he said to them, "Yahuwah is witness against you, and his anointed is witness today that you have found not in my hand." And they answered, "He is witness." And Shemuel said to the people, "It is Yahuwah who appointed Moshe and Aaron, who brought your fathers up from the land of Mitzrayim. Now stand still, so that I may judge you before Yahuwah concerning all the righteous acts of Yahuwah which he did to you and your fathers. When Jacob came to Mitzrayim, and your fathers cried out to Yahuwah, then Yahuwah sent Moshe and Aaron, who brought your fathers out of Mitzrayim and made them dwell in this place. But they forgot Yahuwah their Elohim, so he sold them into the hands of Sisera, commander of the army of Hatzor, and into the hand of the Philistine, and into the hand of the sovereign of Moab, and they fought against them. And they cried out to Yahuwah and said, we have sinned because we have forsaken Yahuwah and served the Baals and the Ashtoreth. Now deliver us from the hand of our enemy, and we serve you. And Yahuwah sent Zerubbabel, Bedan, Jephthah, and Shemuel, and delivered you out of the hand of your enemies round about, and you dwelt in safety. And when you saw that Nahash, sovereign of the children of Ammon, came against you, and you said to me, no, but let the sovereign reign over us, when Yahuwah your Elohim was your sovereign. Now there is a sovereign whom you have chosen and whom you have asked, and see, Yahuwah has set a sovereign over you. If you fear Yahuwah and serve him and obey his voice and not rebel against the commands of Yahuwah, then both you and the sovereign who reigns over you shall follow Yahuwah your Elohim. But if you do not obey the voice of Yahuwah, and you shall rebel against the command of Yahuwah, then the hand of Yahuwah shall be against you, as it was against your fathers. Now stand and see this great matter which you have done before your eyes, which Yahuwah does before your eyes. Is today not the wheat harvest? Let me call to Yahuwah so that he sends thunder and rain. Know then and see that your evil is great, which you have done before in the eyes of Yahuwah, in asking for yourself a sovereign. And Shemuel called to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah sent thunder and rain that day. And all the people greatly feared Yahuwah and Shemuel. And all the people said to Shemuel, pray for your servants to Yahuwah your Elohim, that we do not die, for we had added to all our sins this evil, asking for ourselves a sovereign. And Shemuel said to the people, do not fear, you have done all this evil, only do not turn aside from following Yahuwah. You shall serve Yahuwah with all your heart, and do not turn aside after worthless matters, which do not profit or deliver, for they are worthless. And Yahuwah would not cast away his people for his great name's sake, seeing it has pleased Yahuwah to make you his people. How far was I supposed to go?
You in there.
All right. So, does anybody know what's going on in this passage? Sorry, I had to mute Marky Mark there for a minute because he was distracting me while I was reading. But I guess he muted himself. All right. I don't know if he's muted or if I muted him.
He talking to somebody.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, does anybody know what's going on in this passage? What is just taking place?
It sounds like, it looks like Moses is about to die. Or he's asking people.
At this point in time, Moses is long gone.
Yeah,
Long
Moses.
gone. Okay, so I got distracted for a second.
But the people have been asking for a king. They've been wanting a king because the other folk got a king. He want one too.
Right. So the people are asking for a king. Like you said, because everybody else had a king. So now they want a king. And did y'all give them a king?
Yep.
A king of their own choice, right?
Yep.
But what did we see earlier in the passages that we read in the book of Numbers about us trying to put in place the people we want as opposed to the people that y'all put there?
Well,
He wipes them out.
We're
ain't
in
good for 'em.
chaos right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we see Samuel talking about. He's like, look, let me show you what Yah's done. Yah's done all these great and mighty things for you, yet and still in the effort of all this stuff, all of a sudden, you guys just gotta have you a king.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta have somebody to parade around when Yah was your king. Now, how does that play into the world today? And us, especially this coming November.
Well, we get an opportunity.
We get an opportunity to do something,
Yeah.
but
According to scripture, who should we put there?
Well, we should put Yeshua there, or Yah. It's his kingdom.
Okay.
And but we keep going under man's government. But it's
Okay. So what happened with the first group that stood with Korah?
hey, they got wiped out.
they got buried alive.
All right. I'm just looking. I'm just doing observations right now. I'm not prophesying anything. I'm just doing observations.
I ain't prophesying either, but I don't see no Yah or Yahshua being on the ballot in November.
I'm gonna tell you something. It was on the ballot in December of 2016.
Yeah, I know. Now, if enough of us write his name in, will the folk up there counting know who we're talking about?
Are we
I know,
worried about? Are we worried about them?
No, I know we should.
Think about if that faction sitting out there in Tulsa prancing around in the red, white, and blue with the color to their skin would know. People ain't gonna wake up.
Well, they might not. But the thing is that not everybody woke up when they were siding against Moshe and Korah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be near the temple on the wrong side. So I'm trying to find out where I'm supposed to be.
Who you think you should vote for?
Honestly, nobody.
Well, I'm gonna tell you that is an option.
I know.
Yeah.
It's always an option. But
Who
people died for a right to cast the vote.
Who does scripture tell you need to vote for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. See, the reason why I know that he was on the 2016 ballot, because I wrote his name in there. I don't know how many votes y'all got that day, but he got at least one.
Oh, okay.
See, we still got a choice. That's the thing that we have to understand. We still have a choice.
So when I go, or if I get that absentee thing, I can write in whom I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I went to the polls and wrote it in.
Well, I'm saying I don't know what we're gonna do, if it's gonna be absentee or what. I plan on casting a vote.
Yeah. Yeah. I still get some of my buddies today. See, if you wasn't being so smart, Alec, and you didn't have to
That
write
ain't
in.
smart. I'm glad you told me that, because I'm gonna be writing his name in. That's what I'm gonna vote for.
Well, and that's the thing that we need to do. And,
I wish you told me that then.
You ain't saying that, and you might as well mute yourself. I got you. So anyhow, but that's part of what we have to understand. We do have a choice in this. We always have a choice. they may only give us the choices that they want us to choose.
Yeah.
That does not mean that we have to choose that. And I strongly believe that if we as a people go up there and put Yah's name in there, I believe that Yah will show up and he will show out.
Well, I'm gonna put his name there. Now, where did you put it on your ballot?
There's a spot there for others. You know,
Okay.
sometimes if you listen to them, if you go in the past, they always say, well, you know, we had so many thousands of votes for Mickey Mouse, and you know, they put up something else that somebody else would put that they were right in. But there's always a spot in there for where you can write somebody's name in there.
Okay.
You can put other, and you write it in there, and I'll write it in Paleo Hebrew. They might not be able to tell who it is, but Yah knows who it is, and that's the only one that matters. When he's counting the vote, I want him to know that my vote is for him, and not for man. And once Israel gets that understanding, this is what I believe that this part of the scripture here is pointing out to it. When we get the understanding that we don't need to be like the rest of the world, going out there trying to vote for somebody that looks like somebody else, that we can parade around like somebody else, and all this other hoopla that they got us trying to do, and we go back to what we were supposed to be doing. And this is what Samuel was telling them. Like, you know, he said that you guys have created a great sin in what you guys did. For Yah was your sovereign, but you chose someone else. And so that is what the problem is. That you have rebelled against Yah. He said, but if you keep, well, let me digress from there. Let me read it in verse 4, and we'll go with verse 13. Because it says that and now here's the sovereign, the king, whom you've chosen, which you have asked, and see, Yahuwah has set a king over you. If you fear Yah and shall serve him and obey his voice and not rebel against the commands of Yah, then both you and the king who reigns over you shall follow Yah your Elohim. But if you do not obey the voice of Yah and shall rebel against the command of Yahuwah, then the hand of Yah is against you as it was against your fathers. We saw what happened with the forefathers who wanted to rebel against Yah and put somebody else in charge. And that's what he was saying. He said, now stand and see this great matter which Yah does before your eyes. He said, now Yah's getting ready to do something. Just the same way that you guys had to see something back then. Let me put something in front of your eyes now. Back then, the earth had to open up and swallow up some folks. Back then, a rod had to bud and bear almonds. Now he says, now today, he says, let me call to Yahuwah so that he sends thunder and rain. Know then and see your evil is great, which you've done in the eyes of Yahuwah for asking for yourself a sovereign. And Samuel called to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah sent thunder and rain that day, and all the people greatly feared Yahuwah and Samuel. Now, this is the kicker part right here, verse 19. It says, and all the people said to Samuel, pray for your servants to Yahuwah your Elohim, that we do not die, for we have added to all our sins this evil for asking for ourselves a sovereign. And so we have to understand that that's evil in the eyes of Yah. For us to go up there and ask for someone to be over us, opposed to Yah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole new slant on voting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not saying that you can't vote at all or anything, and but as the head, the leader that you put over, I know who I'm putting. So, you know, there's a difference between a judge and you know, a politician and stuff like that, opposed to a king, or in our case here, the president. And so, because that's the one who runs it all. So we have to put those people. We need to make our voice known, and needs to make it known to Yah who it is that we're trying to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody got any other questions or anything they'd like to add?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let us go to
John.
John. Is it
Yeah.
John? Yeah. John 19, verses 1 through 17.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second, John. You had me muted there.
Oh, my bad.
Couldn't
All
find
right.
the mute button to get out of it. But
All right. You out now. What
okay.
you need?
What we were talking about there about, you know, how the people were grumbling against who Yah had put in charge of it.
Right.
You know, we do that. We still, as you said, we still do that with, well, who do you think you are? Kind of mentality. So
Right.
even though, you know, when we go to focus on who we want as our sovereign, or who should be our sovereign, we have to also recognize who he has said to, I guess, point in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who are you to say that that's what God said? Well, just like they were grumbling against Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who again? This is who he sent. This is who he sent to you with this.
Right.
So,
And if there's any question about it, he also showed that if you ask, he'll make it clear
Mm-hmm.
who it is that he sent.
Right. So that's one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not that you shouldn't question sometimes. You know, Yah, is this the one that you sent? If so, let it be clear. As opposed to, you know, I'm jumping on this brother's side because I don't like the way Moses was looking at me the other day when I went and got that big piece of chicken. And so Yah will make it clear so that everybody will know. And when in doubt, whose side do you think you should be on?
Hey.
Yah's
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, when it comes to the president of this country, the king of this country, however they want to call themselves, I've been told that Biden's a pedophile. We've seen too much dirt on 45 for me to even go up there and begin to list stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we know he's foul too, and as my mother would always say, the lesser of two evils is still what?
Love of evil.
Still evil.
Yeah.
It's still evil.
That's
It's
right.
just lesser. And you have no idea who Biden's going to pick to run with him, but honestly, Biden was non-visible when he was VP under Barack,
Right.
as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not a good choice if I'm looking at man's laws,
Right.
at man's things. There's no good choices on there,
Right.
on either side.
No.
So even as YAH said about us and all of our ways being as filthy as the menstrual cycle of a woman, so are these people.
Yes,
Mhm.
definitely.
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that should give us all that much more reason to say, I choose YAH.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know where my vote's going now. Thank you.
All right.
Better choose his law,
Yep.
the way, the covenant, the purpose we made for it.
Yeah.
Lift him up and to live by his word.
That's right. So who wants to read John chapter 19, verses 1 through, what is it, 20?
No, 1
17.
through
17.
17.
17.
Well, I can if no one else wants to come forward. Then Pilate took Yeshua and scourged him. And the soldiers wove a crown of thorns and they placed it on his head, and they covered him with garments of purple. And they were saying, "Peace to you, King of the Jews." And they were striking him on his cheeks. Then Pilate went outside again and said to them, "Behold, I bring him out to you, that you may know that I do not find even one crime in him." Then Yeshua came outside, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple clothing. And he said to them, "Behold the man." Then when the chief priests and the guards saw him, they cried out, saying, "Crucify, crucify." Pilate said to them, "You take him and crucify him, for I do not find one crime in him." Then the Jews answered him, "When we have a law, and according to our law, he ought to die because he made himself son of Elohim." Then when Pilate heard this word, he was more afraid, and he entered into the praetorium again and said to Yeshua, "From where are you?" But Yeshua did not give him an answer. So Pilate said to him, "Do you not speak to me? Do you not know that I have authority to crucify you, and I have authority to release you?" Yeshua answered, "You would have no authority over me whatsoever if I had not given to you from above." Ooh. If it had not been given to you from above.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this, he who delivered me to you, his sin is greater than yours. And because of this, Pilate was wanting to release him. But the Jews were crying out, "If you release this man, you are not a friend of Caesar.
Mm.
For everyone who makes himself a king is an adversary of Caesar."
Mm.
How far am I to go?
17.
No. Now, when Pilate heard this word, he brought Yeshua outside and set upon the judgment seat in a place that is called the pavement of stones, but in Hebrew is called Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover. And about the 6th hour, he said to the Jews, "Behold your king." But they were crying out, "Take him away, crucify him, crucify him." Pilate said to them, should I crucify your king? The chief priest said to him, we have no king but Caesar. Therefore, then he delivered him up to them that he might be crucified, and they took Yeshua and led him away, carrying his cross beam to the place that was called the skull, but in Hebrew is called Golgotha.
So there you have it. The full breakdown. And not only did it happen in the beginning with the children of Israel going against Moshe and Aaron, not did it happen again later on with the children of Israel with Samuel, and they chose Saul, but it happened again when Yeshua was here. And they said, we ain't got no king but Donald Trump. I mean, Caesar. And so the issue that we see all over again, that they rejected who YAH had sent to put somebody else in that place. And notice what they said when they said that everyone who makes himself a sovereign does speak against Caesar. And and as they said, if you release this one, you are not Caesar's friend. And they in verse 15 or 14, he says, you know, hey, see your king. And they shouted, away with him, and crucify him. And he said, shall I crucify your king? And the chief of the priests, this is what happens when you get the wrong one in the priesthood. The chief of priests says, we have no king except for Caesar. But when you seeing all these fancy boot scooting brothers, and they up there dancing around the sovereign, the president, the king of this land, hollering that that's our man, regardless if he's the appointed one or the one that's trying to be appointed. The thing is that we need to recognize that we're rejecting who YAH is and who YAH has put there when we go in that route. And we need to recognize the danger of it. Even Pilate recognized who Yeshua was and said, hey, you ain't gonna get me to do it. This is gonna fall on you guys.
Yeah, Pilate kept trying to get him taken back.
And you know, and even Pilate, who thought he had a little bit of say so, when he was talking to Yeshua, he was asking him, like, you know, hey, you know, you ain't even gonna speak to me? Don't you know I have the authority to wipe you out? I have the authority to release you. And Yeshua broke him down and said, hey, the authority that you was given from above.
Yeah.
And he said, the ones who turned me over, they have a greater sin than you did. And it says, you know, at that point in time, Pilate was looking to let him go. Like, hey, as it says, I wash my hands from this. My hands are clean from this. Although it didn't say it in this scripture here, but it does say that in the scripture. And so, and that's what's going on here. So, anybody want to sum up in their own words what you've learned from today?
I'm writing in on my ballot. That's what I'm summing up.
Yeah.
All in a nutshell.
Yeah. 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 So, you know.
You're accountable for your grumblings.
Say
What's
what?
that, Marky Mark?
You're accountable for your grumbling.
Be accountable for your grumblings. Yeah.
I
Right.
try not to grumble.
Yeah.
I be thankful every morning I wake up
Hallelujah.
and thankful for what he does
MD.
and my reasonable portion thereof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's he's awesome. That's all I can say. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ask that he's continue to show me favor.
Thank you. I ask for his
Amen
favor,
for
grace, and mercy every day.
Amen.
Yeah.
Ronette?
I'm taking any lessons.
Good answer. You don't want to share anything that you gleaned from the lessons?
It's a lot. There's a lot to that I took in and going through my head
Mm-hmm.
right now. Yeah, there's a lot.
All right.
So I'm taking it in. I'm absorbing it.
All right. I'm gonna put Miss Denise on the spot. Shabbat shalom, Miss Denise.
I think she's on mute.
Yeah, she's on mute. I don't know if she's able to holler or not.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
What'd you glean from today's lesson?
I gleaned just that, the whole lesson.
Mm.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Yes. I know who controls me.
Amen. Amen. And that's the thing. Marky Mark says, be accountable for your grumblings. I also say be accountable for who you choose to be the leader of you. Make sure you choose the right side to be on. Anybody else got anything they want to share?
I'm interested in what Jalynn has to say. She's a newcomer. I want to hear what she's got, what she picks up.
Uh-oh.
Jalynn? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's on mute.
she talking to you. Mark.
What did he say?
You have to come off mute and ask. Mark, she said she didn't hear what you said. He was asking what he wanted to know what your thoughts were.
I just told him.
Okay. She said she shared them, Marky Mark. Oh. You guys have to share that with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Something personal they trying to get into. I'm trying to stay out of that. So with that being said, all hearts and mind clear. Let's go to the closing of the Torah. It says, and this is the
This
Torah
is the Torah
given by Moshe to
Moshe
Okay.
the children of
children of
Israel
Israel
Israel.
at the command of Yahweh
Yeah.
through the
through the
hand
hand of Moshe.
and Yahuwah
Yahweh
spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak
to
to
Aaron
Aaron
and his
and his
sons,
sons, saying,
this is
this
how
is
you
how you baruch the children of Israel. Say to them,
Yahweh
Yahweh rebuke you and guard you.
Yahuwah
Yahweh make his face shine upon you
and
and
show
show
favor.
favor to you.
Yahuwah lift
Yahweh
up
lift up
his
his
face
face upon you
On
and
you,
give
give
peace.
you peace.
Thus
Thus
they
shall
shall
put my
put
name
My name
from the children of Israel,
and
and I myself shall bruise
shall
them.
bruise.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
It was good seeing
Thank
everybody.
you
Shabbat
again,
shalom.
John. Thank you again.
Yes,
Well, thank
John.
you guys for being here. You guys are my inspiration throughout.
All right.
Yes.
You're
Have a
our
safe
inspiration.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I must say, even during the storm, I got on and could hear and see today.
hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Yah.
We ain't got a storm, but we got cloudy skies. I think that
It stormed here, lightning and everything else, and it knocked out the power of a lot of people in my other Zoom before this one. But I still was
Mhm.
making it.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'm the one that can't hear.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Have a good one.
All
Stay
right.
safe and alert.
Same thing
All
for
right,
you guys.
everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shabbat shalom.